That's.
I don't know.
That's a phone. Should I sit down?
Well, keep it as separate as I can.
Oh, you sit? Sit down.
That's fine, Chad. Take a look. Full water.
We're no for those guys. Yeah. You had such a reason. Two. Hey. That's not. Oh, I didn't say it was. What's the wrong? Oh, here he is. Don't you just say that? I usually go. You're all. You can say not everything here is make fun of me. Yes. So on the.
Try not to hit you in the head.
Where you call? Share this.
No. What, this?
I don't hear it. Oh, I guess we're, yeah.
It didn't work.
Very architectural.
Yeah. I'll try it with some.
Because I was like, weird. Say, look, it's all.
Yeah.
But what's the use?
So you know,
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. It's total style. Before they do your design thing. Well, that's what you say. Show them like. They're done. They're done. Yeah, okay, there's this week.
I think it's almost that on the side.
Yeah. This is all. Jim. All right. Long one.
I'm trying to vote. It's a new year.
What's this going to say?
Something there.
You're building. Yeah. You guys build that bridge. I think it's one of the. Oh, really? Okay.
Most everything all this.
I don't think so.
Oh, they lock it out here.
That, yeah. Like you got it.
Confirm.
Glowing. Yeah.
Oh,
What's up? Yeah, that's what that means. Yeah. Right. Wait, what do you say? Yeah. This is a function.
See, that's.
Anyway. Verbs. I got that. We're several. We're saying the next. Organized one. I put it on. No. I think he has one. Yeah. So That's water day. That's the worst thing you get. After you. Oh, that's affirmative response. Yeah. Okay. And then where's home? And she'll bring it along.
No. There it is.
I'll check out litter, I had an email earlier, but I'm not sure on. Yeah, but this little hole in the below.
Yeah. No way.
They just have the library. So. So my question, Astronaut.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the whole game that they came out. For the.
The guy, they didn't check you.
Yeah.
I thought it was. Unless it's any of those. Even though we don't get any. We worked in this building. No. We're not. Yeah.
Put that in a while ago.
You were taking care of this.
What
You
did
get conflicting, ideas on ethics. What I'm saying. I don't definitely already going to.
But,
I'm the,
yeah, this has been a bad board. So I just kind of forgot it.
You tired? It's.
I don't know if it's that
The one where I'm at.
Okay.
I know you had that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's not that happened. It's all like, right, that's their dog. I think these. In this system. Yeah, it's like I had to, like, drive to the wall. And then I could turn it. It was just kind of stupid, so I just forgot about it, and then got that today. Oh, they're not ones that like, probably you too.
Hello.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, interesting about how much about them. Because,
In the back.
because he missed field day 2 months ago because of it. Yeah, I do too. My past brother did it, it's like, yeah, okay. I was expecting it all weekend to start.
I'm gonna back out one because I don't want to start and then she comes in.
Exactly.
I was. You've been thrown.
He cornered. So that's not a start. That might be because they only had, X number of licenses.
Yeah.
I have done all this, I've done one, or you have to download, down.
You've been the most like these. Just type that.
But they have to wait until the person who's holding the license is done with this. About two. That's what each media is different. I think we need for 2 weeks.
Nope. Okay, she's talking work. It's all 30 minutes. All right, it's time. I just gotta eventually. Or trying to step down. Trying to step down. Oh, okay. There.
Sign it there.
See.
She didn't have a clue.
Choose it, but
Good evening. Welcome to the Board of Zoning Adjustment meeting for the City of Columbus, February 25th, 25. We're only here in variance cases this evening. Okay. We're going to get variance requests from members of the public. Each member will have up to 3 minutes to make their case after the city has presented their case. Then there's an opportunity for rebuttal or comments from the audience. And then the applicant can come back and has up to 5 minutes. Do I have those reversed?
I'm like, on something like that.
Is it 5 minutes to present?
5 minutes to present, 3 minutes for rebuttal.
So I retract that. You have 5 minutes to present your case. Again, if anybody from the audience has any comments, you'll have 3 minutes to rebut those when you return. That's it as far as those go. If you are planning to testify or provide testimony this evening, I will swear everybody in as a group. So if that is your intent, please stand. Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you'll provide is the truth and the best of your knowledge and belief? If so, say I do. Thank you so much. And I'll ask, are there preliminary matters?
Yes. Mr. Jones, we have two. The first one is, applicant here to have her drawings re-stamped, and that is for case 333 West Sixth Avenue.
you repeat that address.
Yeah, 333 West Sixth Avenue.
333 West Sixth Avenue. Hello.
Hello.
Would you please provide your name and indicate whether or not you've been sworn in?
Yes, my name is Kelsey Shenamblo, and I have been sworn in.
Okay, thank you.
Can you just repeat your last name?
Shenamblo,
Can you spell them?
SCIANAMBLO.
Thank you.
Do you have the drawing? Please, Ms. Mills.
And as a friendly reminder, when you do come to the table, sign in so that the court reporter does have accurate spelling of your name.
Absolutely.
And so we're just stamping new plans.
Elevation.
Okay. I would ask that you guys just refresh us on the one that you had. And
Oh, that's, yeah.
okay.
We had previously submitted plans for a second story over a garage. We made some minor adjustments to the profile of the roof to make it fit with the neighborhood a little bit more. It pulled a little barn for my taste, and we wanted to pull away from the barn feel, so put a little bit more angle onto the roof line and I think 2 more dormers on the elevation, so.
Planning division did review this maybe plan, so staff it.
Thank you for that. And since I don't have anything to compare it to, I don't. That's not just say, okay, since it's compliant.
I've got the previous one if you'd like a reference.
West Sixth. So this is the only change?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Well, is there a motion to accept us signing the new stamped plans or stamping the plans?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Ms. Egelhoff?
Yes.
Mr. Malika?
Yes.
Chair Jones?
Yes. We'll stamp your plans and get it back to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything additional, Mr. Freeze?
Yeah, one more, tabling for BZA 24-164, 407, 409, South Ohio Avenue is number 3.
BZA 24-164-407 to 409 South Ohio. Please come forward. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Would you please provide your name and indicate whether or not you've been sworn?
Joy Griffin, JoyGriffin, and yes, it's been sworn
Okay. And you're making a request for,
to table the project. There's a variance that we need to add to our application.
okay. We always like people to get it right the first time, so we'll likely be fully supportive of that. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak for or against this tabling?
Well, we would like to know for,
You'll come up and introduce yourself for the record.
I'm Kanika James, speaking for Essie James, property owner at 411 South Ohio. And we would like to know with this specific variance request, is this specifically for the property that is being built? That you're requesting the parking spots for? We just received this notification. We didn't receive any prior notifications. So we're asking for additional information in regards to this property. And we also have some objections to what is being asked and requested in that variance.
So it sounds like you're objecting to the tabling of the matter. If we table it, there will be an opportunity for you to come back and speak on it at that.
That is correct.
Questions, et cetera. And maybe since you know you have those and you're two together right now, maybe you can resolve that before you come back.
Yes,
Okay. Would you take your time to sign it for us?
yes.
Is there anyone else here that would like to speak for or against the proposal to table? Seeing and hearing none. Somebody will make a motion to table.
I'll motion to table.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Mr. Malika?
Yes.
Ms. Egelhoff?
Yes.
Chair Jones?
Yes, the tabling is granted. We'll look forward to seeing you soon. Anything additional? Okay. All right. Thank you so much. BZA 24-161 for 1247 and 1259, or through 1259 Mildred Avenue. Please come forward. That is for 1247 through 1259 Mildred Avenue. Okay, we'll put it to the bottom of the file and we can come back. Next case is BZA 24-161. Why does that say that's the same thing? Next case, BZA 25-001, 801 Brook Street. Good afternoon. Would you please provide your name and indicate whether or not you've been sworn?
Devin Gonzalez and I have been sworn.
Okay, thank you. State, or excuse me, the city will present their case.
Yep, BZA 25-0001, 801 Brook Street is located at the northwest corner of East Columbus Street and Brook Street. It is zone R2F residential and part of the Columbus Southside Area Commission. The site is developed with a single unit dwelling. Surrounding uses are primarily single unit dwelling. The applicant proposes to convert a 2.5-story building into a 3-story dwelling. A variance is being requested to legitimize the existing 3-foot side yard conditions. Planning support for the proposal, C2P2 states the design and character of new development, including homes, additions, and garages, should be appropriate and based on the principal nearby structures in terms of height, width, setbacks, lot coverage, roof pitch, and other. The proposal is consistent with C2P2 design guidelines. Does not substantially alter the character of the neighborhood, and staff concur with the applicant's statement of support, and therefore it's supported. Division of Traffic Management had no comments, and the Columbus Southside Area Commission recommends approval. Staff can recommend approval as the proposed addition maintains the area's residential character and is compatible with nearby structures. The reduced side yard is consistent with the existing conditions, and the design appropriately integrates with the primary structure. Sure.
Thank you so much. We have the recommendation of approval from the Columbus Southside Area Commission as well as city staff. Is there anything additional that you'd like to add?
Nothing this moment.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak for or against this proposal? Seeing and hearing none. Make a attempt to address our voting factors.
Who's here as it first?
I'll call the question.
Go ahead and make the comment.
The question's been called, please call the roll.
Ms. Egelhoff?
Yes, I'm gonna vote in favor of the variance and applying the Duncan factors. I believe the property in question could yield a reasonable return without the variance, but I do not think the variance is substantial in nature. I don't think the variance would alter the essential character of the neighborhood. I don't think the variance would adversely affect the delivery of governmental services. I'm not sure if the property would purchase the property with a non-zoning restriction. But I do not believe the property owner's predicament can be alleviated through some method other than a variance, as side yard couldn't get any larger. You're currently going, the spirit and intent behind the zoning restrictions will be observed, and substantial justice will be done by granting the variance. So weighing all those factors, I believe based on the granting variance.
Mr. Mollico?
I'm going to vote yes based on my colleagues' comments.
Chair Jones?
I concur that comments made are supported. I support the comments that were made. Basically, the variance is very nominal in nature and very routine as we look to do development in these older neighborhoods like German Village, Schumacher, and Marion Village. So your case is approved. Good luck with the project.
Thank you.
Next case, BZA 240-154 for 407 to 409 South Ohio. Awesome. BZA 24-138 for 245 East Lakeview. And I guess I should have started by telling everybody, and this is the first case, I guess, that it might matter. There are 3 of us here. Routinely, we have 5 to 6 people here, which means you have to meet the burden of having everybody approve your request in this moment. So if you do not want to go before all 3 of us, and you prefer to have a larger body potentially at a later date, we can potentially table your case. That will be entirely up to you. But I want to make sure that everybody here has that opportunity in the event that they want to go that route. So be thinking about that as your case will be coming up to be called. Sir, would you please provide your name and indicate whether or not you've been sworn?
Casey Goff, and yes, I've been sworn.
Okay, thank you. Just sign in there. It looks like you're already.
Yeah.
James?
245 East Lakeview Avenue is located on the southeast corner of East Lakeview Avenue and Calumet Street. It is part of the Clintonville Area Commission and existing zoning as Spark Creek Residential District. The 0.11 acre site is currently developed with a single unit dwelling. Surrounding uses include single unit dwellings in the north, south, east, and west. The applicant proposes to construct an addition which will include an attached garage. The applicant is requesting variances to reduce the minimum side yard from 3 feet to 1 foot on the east and west side yard, and to reduce the combined side yards from 7.06 feet to 2 feet. Planning supports this proposal, but has requested that the requested variances be conditioned on a review of the proposed elevations once they are developed by the applicant before obtaining a final building permit. The Division of Traffic Management supports this proposal on the condition that the existing driveway will not be widened past its current extent. Clintonville Area Commission has recommended approval of the requested variances, voting 5-3 in favor, and City Department's recommendation is likewise that of approval. Staff recommends approval as the prior to receiving their building permit.
Thank you very much. Did you understand the conditions that have been recommended
Yes.
to not expand the existing driveway
Yes, correct.
and to provide design and elevations? Okay,
Yeah, so those are currently in the final stage of the designs.
The elevations we have currently are going to be the final ones.
I haven't received the final drawings yet, but yes, it'll be very similar to that.
Perfect. Yeah, once you receive those, we will hand those off to planning, further review, and that will satisfy that condition.
Okay.
I also would like to mention that we did receive one email in opposition, which has been printed out and provided.
okay, thank you. So they need to come back and have us, or myself sign, I guess it would be me, the elevations,
If we're conditioning approval on the elevation.
because he said building, not us.
Well, planning said planning.
Planning, yeah.
Planning approves them, they have our endorsement, then we will have to stamp it.
Okay. All right, those are two conditions. Are you accepting those conditions?
Yes.
You have the recommendation of approval from city staff as well as overall the Clintonville Area Commission. Is there anything additional that you'd like to add?
Not this time.
Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak for or against the proposal? Please step forward. Ma'am, would you please provide your name and indicate whether or not you've been sworn?
Yes, I'm Lorraine Alexander and I have been sworn.
Okay.
Okay,
You have 3 minutes.
okay. My husband and I have live at 251 East Lakeview, and our property line is the only property line adjacent to Mr. Goff's. My concern is that with a 1-foot variance to the property, that once a gutter and overhang is added, the building itself will be 1 inch from the property line. I don't believe this is a good precedence to set in any neighborhood. And as it's detrimental to my property as far as I'm concerned, because for future use or for future selling of our property, we will have a 98.8-foot building running along the side of our property. And while you have said it along Calumet, this is in similar, every other house that would have this restriction, although I don't know for sure, but my guess is, are all up against ravines. So therefore they are not in the same situation that I am in. It's going to be livable space. As it is right now, my property has a privacy fence that is anywhere from 10 to 14 and a half inches from the property line, or I have a fence that's 10 to 14 inches from the property line. When we built the fence in November 20, we purposely angled the fence so that the Goffs could access where they store their trash cans and stuff. At that time, we asked that the triangular shape that was formed by the angling of the fence, that it would remain as it would remain open. It would be our property. And what happened was Mr. Goff did put a hardscape up to the fence line, which then again is on my property. No big deal, maybe not as considerate as we would have liked, but there was no deal. However, in that case, he also built a gazebo and the hardscape up to the fence line, which again is on my property line. Did not realize this until his survey. He presented his survey to the Clintonville Commission, and we saw how much of that property was ours. I would just like to say, there are other ways to build it. We have that same odd lot. We have lived at our house for 44 years. There has never been a garage on the property, as the variance states. It's a replacement of an existing garage. It's not, it's a rebuild. And it's just you said it's not a replacement? It is not. There's no garage. There has not been a garage on that property for 44 years.
And you're saying it refers to it as a rebuild?
I'm just saying, as presented, it gives the impression that, oh, we're just going to replace something that's already there. It's not.
Okay.
Okay. We don't object to the building of the structure, but we want to request that we respect the reasonable boundary lines of the property in a neighborhood setting. Yeah, an inch from a property line does restrict maintenance and also replacement of the fence.
Right, so you're saying that you're unwilling to give a cross-maintenance access agreement to this person, your neighbor, in the event that they need to repair, rebuild?
Well, no, the fence is mine.
I'm sorry, you were referring to his property, and him, if we were to approve this,
Right.
are you saying that you would not provide access for him to maintain that if he had to go onto your property?
He already would have a 14-inch, he would already have an easement, but if the people coming after me would choose to replace the fence to the standard 6 inches and move the fence 6 inches from the property line, not the 14 inches from the property line.
So you're saying basically you brought your fence in,
Right.
the next person. So again, my question remains, that we would routinely say, you know, you need to be this close across access maintenance agreement. Have you thought about that at all, or had that conversation?
It hasn't come up because, for one, it's just the idea of having a house built 1 inch from a property line.
Okay. Any other questions for this person? Okay, thank you so much.
Okay.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak for or against this proposal? Okay.
I'm sorry, I have a question for the buildings.
Mm-hmm.
You're saying that there's not an existing detached garage?
Correct.
So that somewhere along the line that got messed up. So in the application, this has all been a completely new build garage.
So you're building
There's-
the 4 seasons, the sunroom,
In between the existing house and then where the garage will go.
you're gonna build,
Yes,
is there a footprint from any like did there used to be a detached garage?
not that I'm aware of, no.
Okay, so you're good. Thank you, Dave.
Okay, thank you.
Can you sign that sheet?
I-
You did already.
I sign it.
Mr. Gall?
Yes.
Do you understand the dilemma that's presented to you?
Yes, I do.
And what's your
Yes.
solution to that?
So I believe the elevations show, I don't know if it shows on that, but the final elevation, so the overhang, the eaves overhang, that'll be, I don't know if it shows 8 inches. We're going from a foot back to 8 inches. So we will not be building up until the property line. I get a foot to foot, right? 8 inches to a foot, that's not that much space. But nothing will actually hang over our property line for the building.
I guess what I'm saying is, could you paint this space? Could you replace a rain gutter without, you know, trampling on your neighbor's property?
I'm guessing no,
Okay, that's the challenge.
given a foot,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's the challenge. And again, routinely, you would ask for you with your neighbor to get a cross-maintenance access agreement so that you're able to do that. We don't want to set you up for failure.
Yeah.
Where, you know, some catastrophe happens, it falls, then you need to replace it. But there's some bad blood between your neighbor and now they won't let you go replace it. So
Gotcha.
I'm a little uncomfortable contemplating this without something like that. I don't know how colleagues feel about it. I don't know if you want to, we don't routinely do this. Let me see how they feel. But it didn't sound like your neighbor was opposed to what I'm describing. So if you guys went out in the hallway and resolved it, I'd feel better. But let's see how my colleagues feel.
Yeah, I'm similar to the chair. I definitely would like to see some work potentially with the neighbor. And then also the area commission voted 5-3. To the 3 no's, did they give any reason?
So there's one, he basically asked why we don't go closer to Calumet and put 2 feet on the east property line.
what was spoken.
I haven't crossed that. Yeah, we were just making it, I guess, symmetrical, if you call it.
That's another option.
The other two that I'm aware of, the other two that I remember, the other two did not give a reasoning why.
And is it an option? I don't know, if traffic would have an issue with that coming closer to town.
It just seems like
That's a good,
you could slide the sunroom wall behind it with the garage. So the other side. Then you pick up that necessary step back there. Obviously, either you have this sprinkle width of the seat, 4 seats of room where you move the cars. I think that is probably the better solution. That probably works both ways. It'll give him access as well as go off the property line. The other question I had was for staff as far as measurement. When he's showing these measurements, these are foundational measurements from the property line, not heat lines. Right. So if the heat line is over the property line, how does that fall under building or no? It's over building. No, right.
And more times than not, it would be fire rated. But yeah, that's a building issue. Okay.
So, what say you all? Again, I'm happy to send them out to the hall and let us kind of figure it out. If they can, great, if they can. I don't know if you guys, how you feel about it?
I think it'd be great if they could figure it out. Yes. Again, sliding, it's an option, but I'm not sure that means for coming back.
So your options are to go in the hall and figure it out?
Yep.
Or we can table the case and you can come back.
okay. Yeah, she's still, I'm more than happy to meet out in the hallway.
Okay,
Do you know, is there anybody here from traffic?
yes.
Do you, yes. I mean, do you have any idea if we would shift it closer to Calumet, would that be an issue?
I mean, looking at the site plan that's on the screen, it would appear there's not much leeway to move that.
We're very close.
Is
Yeah,
that-
it's just it's a unique property.
So, I mean, maybe you have a foot to work with, but it's, I think moving it more than a smidge there, well, 6 inches or so, looks like it would be out right away. So we would not support converting it right away.
Right.
But as proposed, it looks like it's about maybe, I don't know what the exact setback, but it's not, it's very minimal.
Okay. Just curious.
So we are going to, I don't know what we would even call this. This,
Postponement.
okay.
A recess.
Yeah, we'll recess this case for you guys to resolve it, and when you have some resolution, just come up and let one of the staff members know. And then we will bring you back.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next case, BPA 24-168, 235 Webster Park Avenue.
Hello.
Hey,
Would you please provide your name and indicate whether or not you've been sworn in?
Yes, Elizabeth Leidy.
Ali Rahimi, I have not sworn in.
Please raise your right hand.
Right hand.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you'll provide is the truth to the best of your knowledge and belief? If so, say I do.
Yes, I swear.
Thank you. And then when you guys get a chance, both sign and then.
Excuse me. 24-168 for 235 Webster Park Avenue. It's located on the south side of Webster Park Avenue, approximately 270 feet east of Old Boulevard. It's located in the Clintonville Area Commission in the zone R3 residential. The 0.15 acre site is developed with a single unit dwelling. Surrounding uses are all single unit dwellings. The applicant proposes to raise the existing attached garage and to construct a 2-story addition, including an attached 2-car garage, and is requesting a variance to reduce the required rear yard from 25%, which would be 1,720 square feet, to 17.9%, which is 1,232 square feet. Planning is supportive of the requested variance. The Clintonville Neighborhood Plan recommends new garages and additions should be compatible and similar in character to the existing nearby home designs, measured in terms of similar height, width, setbacks, and lot coverage, but do not need to be duplicative of historic style. Staff note the proposal is consistent with plan guidelines, therefore planning is supportive of the requested variance. Division of Traffic Management has no comments. Clintonville Area Commission recommends approval of the request with a vote of 6-0. And staff can recommend approval of the requested variance because the unique shape of the lot and the location of the existing structure would make it difficult to make improvements to the dwelling without the need of a setback and or a rear yard variance.
Thank you very much. You have a recommendation of approval from city staff as well as the area commission, Clintonville Area Commission. Is there anything additional that you'd like to add?
Yes, hi. My client's proposing the addition. The rear yard, is a non-conforming existing condition of about 20%, 20.5% coverage currently, and the side yard setback is a little bit over in non-conforming. So we are aiming, we will fix that side yard setback. But yes, we are requesting more lot coverage in the rear yard. We have looked at alternative layouts, including going out the front yard with an addition, which is possible with the setbacks, and raising the roof to create a two-story house. It ruined the character of said house. So we felt like instead of trying to compete with this, we would push the garage back behind the existing house, in which we both really like. This is my client's first home, wants to make it a family home, needs a little more square footage, and this we feel like is hopefully appropriate for the really tight and kind of odd site setback that we have, or site layout that we have.
That it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. You good?
I doubled down.
Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak for or against this proposal? Seeing and hearing none, I'm gonna dive right in here. Somebody may call the question.
I'll call the question.
The question's been called, and I will speak on this. I think the property will certainly, dealing with dump factors, the property will yield a reasonable return, whether or not this variance is approved. The variance is not substantial, and in many cases, arguably, it is to basically make it a more conforming lot than it is today. So that's positive. The essential character of the neighborhood will not be altered at all, I don't believe, especially since this is a replacement of a garage. If I understood that correctly.
Correct.
The property owner certainly purchased it knowing the zoning restrictions because it's public record. Whether the property owner's predicament can feasibly be obviated through some other method, it sounds as though the applicant has pursued all other options and they are not viable options. The spirit and the intent of the zoning requirement are being met and observed, and I vote for this variance.
Mr. Malaka?
I too vote yes and confirm with our chair.
Ms. Hagel?
I likewise vote yes in support of the variance based on the reasoning that followed the chair.
Okay, your variance is approved.
Thank you.
BZA 24-170 for 1557 and 1561 Avenue. Good afternoon. Would you please provide your name and indicate whether or not you've been sworn?
Eric Martineau, Martineau, and I have been sworn.
Okay.
GCA 24-170 for 1557 and 1561 Virginia Avenue. It's located on the west side of Virginia Avenue, approximately 180 feet south of King Avenue. It's in the 5th by Northwest Area Commission. It's zoned R4 residential. The two lots have a combined area of 0.2 acres and are developed with a single unit dwelling and a detached garage. Surrounding uses are primarily residential with both single and 2 units, with commercial uses further to the north and institutional use to the east. The applicant proposes to construct a 2-unit dwelling on 1561 and to relocate the existing overhead garage door for 1557 to face the alley, and is requesting variances to reduce the maneuvering area for 1557 from 20 feet to 17.1 feet, to reduce the southern side yard setback from 3 feet to 2.2 feet for the existing garage at 1557, to reduce the minimum allowable parking space size from 9 by 18 to 8.25 feet by 18 feet for 1561, and to reduce the minimum building setback from 25 feet to 23 feet for 1561. Planning is supportive of the variances for both 1557 and 1561 Virginia Avenue. The 5th by Northwest plan states new housing design and housing conditions and garages should be compatible with adjacent nearby historic housing design and measured in terms of similar height and width, windows and doors, setbacks, architectural style does not need to be duplicative, and other features. Staff note the updated elevation is consistent with 5th by Northwest plan and C2P2 design guidelines. C2P2 design guidelines state garages should be located in access from the rear of the property for those sites with alley access. Therefore, staff is supportive of variance regarding 1557 to allow relocating the existing overhead garage door. Division of Traffic Management has no comments. The 5th by Northwest Area Commission recommends approval of the request with a vote of 4-0. Staff can recommend approval of the request because the variances requested for the existing garage at 1557 are to bring it into compliance, and the variances requested for 1561 are negligible. The parking space variance will allow the applicant to provide all necessary parking on the lot, and the front setback variance is similar to other properties in the neighborhood.
So you have a recommendation of approval from the 5th by Northwest Area Commission as well as city staff. Is there anything additional like that?
Not at this time. Thank you.
I guess that was redundant, additional, and my apologies. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak for or against this proposal as it's been presented? Seeing and hearing none, I turn to my colleagues.
I just want to clarification to make sure. So 1557, basically the variances are just bringing it in compliance on the existing structure.
The existing garage, these are adjacent lots. One was undeveloped. The previous owners developed their garage to drive across the back end of the neighboring lot. So this, the existing location variance to allow it to have the slightly lower maneuverability and the property line, would be considered too close to the property line. But there's no change to that garage. It is simply to preserve it as it exists.
Thank you.
Ready to call the question?
Questions can call, please call roll.
Ms. Egelhoff?
Sure, I'm gonna, find in favor of granting these variances and applying its own factor. Property can probably yield a reasonable return without the variance, but the variances are not substantial in nature. They're actually very minimal. The central character of the neighborhood will not be substantially altered. Variance will not adversely affect the delivery of governmental services. Whether you purchase the property now under the zoning restrictions, public record. All I can, predict it can probably be easily be dealt with some other method besides the variance, but again, it's not one soil. And then the spirit and intent and zoning will be observed, and substantial justice will be done by granting the variances. So writing all those factors and Duncan.
Mr. Malaka?
Concur with my colleague, yes.
Chair Jones?
I too concur with that eloquent explanation and vote yes for answer the.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. Stephen, again, thank you for your help.
I'll send you the order.
BZA 24-172 for 8701 Lyra Drive.
Hello, good evening. Sure.
Whether or not you've been sworn.
My name is Kristen Claus Sowers, and I have been sworn, and I'm appearing on behalf of Attorney Laura Komek. She apologizes she couldn't be here today. She's out of town at a board meeting.
No worries. So you both represent Hingham properties?
Correct.
Thank you.
8701 Lyra Drive is located on the northwest side of Lyra Drive, approximately 600 feet north of Polaris Parkway. It is on LC4 commercial, and the 1.89 acre site is developed with a 29,371 square foot retail store. Surrounding uses include commercial developments of the Polaris Fashion Mall. The applicant proposes to redevelop a retail store into a commercial center. The redevelopment will add a mezzanine, which increases the overall area by 1,186 square feet. The final gross area will be 3,557 square feet and will require 5 additional parking spaces. The development includes 14,620 square feet of retail space, 7,224 square feet for a food court and banquet hall, 3,030 square feet for a kitchen and bar, 905 feet for the restroom, 625 square feet for mechanical space, and 4,153 square feet for storage and accessory uses. Planning supports the proposal for our north area plan, emphasize design developments to be walkable and bikeable. Staff note that the inclusion of a new bicycle ramp to the site to offset the reduced number of parking spaces is consistent with the plan. Staff concur with the applicant's statement of support and therefore support. The Division of Traffic Management had no comments, and the North Columbus Communities Coalition recommends approval with a vote of 7-0. Staff recommend approval as the parking reduction is minor and does not negatively impact site accessibility. The proposal supports modern and redevelopment efforts while maintaining efficient site function and accommodating alternative transportation options. Chair.
Thank you very much. You have the recommendation of approval from the city staff, as well as the Far North Columbus Communities Coalition. Is there anything additional that you'd like to add?
No, the staff report's complete. No, thanks.
Okay, thank you. Are these businesses already identified?
As far as to clarify your question, businesses that are going to go into this space for redevelopment.
Correct.
So like it was mentioned in the staff report, the retail bar, the sports bar, and then the food court, I believe, have been identified for use of this space.
Okay. Thank you very much. Is there anything additional that you said? Nothing bad?
No, thanks.
Okay. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak for or against this proposal? Please step forward. Just pass the microphone over. Would you please provide your name and indicate whether or not you've been sworn?
Members Commission, my name is Franz Geiger, and I have been sworn.
Thank you. You have 3 minutes.
I'm here on behalf of the Polaris Owners Association. I'm president of it. I'm concerned about this request for a variance. It seems like it's benign because we're asking for 5 parking spaces, but this was a retail building that has been reclassified as a commercial center, which has much less of a parking standard. You asked an interesting question because I'm not sure when I read the code what the definition of 3 distinct businesses is. Is the definition 3 different types of uses? Is it 3 different owners? What does that mean? I think commercial center, the definition, there is no definition of commercial center under the code. But what it does do is it reduces the parking obligation. So now we've taken a 29,000 square foot building that had a higher 1 per 250. Now it's 1 per 275. And you get a credit, you get a bonus if you have a restaurant use. Instead of it being at 175, 1 per 75 square feet, it's now 1 per 275 as long as you stay under a certain square footage. Our concern with this is that we believe with the uncertainty of the uses that, and if you look at each use as they've classified under the traditional code, they would need well over 107 spaces. And so now we're calling this a commercial center. We're increasing the parking density, and we're no restrictions on use, no restrictions on hours. And we're concerned about what that's going to do because there's adjacent properties that if there's a parking situation, how are we going to manage that? And I think that it's just not clear. And like I said, I've also saw the occupancy of a prior plan. We have not received some of this information at our design review committee on some of these issues, but their occupancy on a prior plan was over 700 people. So we have an occupancy level of that, but we have 107 parking spaces. It doesn't mean this can't work, but I don't believe that there's enough information currently for us to make a determination. And our design review committee has not approved the use to a commercial center for the reasons I've mentioned. So I would ask that this be vetted a little further and more clarification, and especially with certainty as to what's going to happen in this building. We've been asking for certainty for a while now. We want them to succeed. I know that the business is struggling currently, but we don't have the certainty of what's going to be in this building. Thank you.
I have a question for you.
Yeah,
Were you at the North Columbus Communities Coalition meeting?
I was not.
And you're recommending that it be vetted, make reference to, you've made reference to going before a committee.
Right.
The Polaris Owners Association.
We have a design review committee, yes.
And is this business owner a member of this group?
Yes.
And they are required to present to you and have or have not? Or?
No, they've submitted different applications over the last year and a half. And so, yes, they have been before us. And we would like to get more information from them as to what they're doing, because we had heard in prior applications that they wanted this space to be used, some of it for a wedding event space, for instance. I don't know how that works with all the other uses that are going on here. What we're concerned about is having certainty as to what they're going to do in this building. And so they definitely have submitted their application over the years, the last year and a half, but we have not come to a conclusion, except we did approve the retail building. They have a retail operation that we did approve, and some of the exterior painting that they did. We did approve that.
So again, I gotta get in the weeds a little bit.
No, I understand.
Are there any deed restrictions on this property that require them to go before your body before?
Yes, there are.
Okay, so would it be true to say, if we were to approve this, we kind of gone out of order?
Not necessarily. I think that's an issue. I think you can approve something that we don't. I do think that's possible. I'm just wanted to come here and put on the record the issues that we're concerned about and that they haven't been resolved. The far north meeting, like what you said, I had reached out to them because we don't get notices of those meetings. Not that I'm supposed to or anything, but I didn't know about it. And so that's why we didn't, voice these concerns at that particular meeting.
Well, for city staff, I don't understand, as an adjacent landowner, why wouldn't you be notified?
Of the Far North Columbus Communities Coalition meeting, I have no idea, but they did receive notice. In fact, his assistant emailed us saying, received this notice.
Well, that's why I'm here tonight.
Right.
Yes, the city did, yeah. I got notice of this meeting. What I'm saying is the far north, I think, is a prerequisite probably. And I didn't attend that meeting because I didn't know about it.
That's not a verified area commission, they're a coalition, they don't have the same standard, but.
Okay. Okay, anybody have questions for this witness? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else in the audience who would like to speak for or against this proposal presented? Not seeing anything done, I will. Oh, I'm sorry. Please step forward. Would you please provide your name and indicate whether or not you've been sworn in?
Hi, my name is Carmela Babu Maganti. I swear. Yes.
You have been sworn?
Yes.
Okay. When you get done, you can talk first. Let's sign up when you get done. You have 3 minutes.
I am the owner, one of the owner of this building. Friends we know for a long time. I want to state the statement again. We have been approved from a city as a commercial center. What the ask is as a commercial center. So, city.
Is it allowed?
Okay.
Yeah. So the ask is, we are asking for a variance. We want to extend a little bit further so that we can use that for different reasons, like we don't have a storage or something like that. if we extend that space, like 1,100 or something like that, we need 5 parking spaces. So that's a variance we are requesting for. Of course, Fran's saying yes. So we have been working with the HOA Polaris for a long time. I mean, correct me, Franz, if I'm saying this right. According to our code of HOA Polaris, they only concerned about exterior, right? As long as the business we are operating is okay with them, and also as long as we are following the exterior of the property. That's what mostly the rule book says that. And as long as city approves the zoning and usage, I think Polaris HOA should be okay with that. So that's what I read from Polaris. Again, right, what the ask is right now, we are asking for 5 parking lot variants for the adding another 1,100 square foot. That's all.
Thank you. I think the real question is, your variance in nature, I think is negligible. It's not a big ask by any means. I think the real question is, are you being disingenuous? I probably shouldn't say that. What's going into the property? What's being reported to us is one thing, and there's no certainty with that. In other words, could that change? And I guess if it changes, they have to return back here.
Yeah, if it change, we can. Sorry.
You know, if they increase the gross floor area, basically like waiting or anything, yes, there is a cap at 50%. According to the partnership.
And if appropriate, may I offer a couple of follow-up questions or follow-up comments based on the opposition?
1 second.
Okay.
Yes, of course we can.
Thank you.
I just want to make sure your client came up as a witness, so I want to make sure that nobody on the board has a question.
Well, I guess I do have a question is the mezzanine in place now?
No, sir. No, sir.
So they're gonna need to go in for a building permit, and the building permit's gonna have to have fuse screws. So occupancy is gonna be counted based on those screws, which is going to turn itself into what parking requirements are gonna be. So it really winds up being a city issue, permitting wise, because they're basically putting in writing on those documents what those uses are gonna be.
So it'll be permanent.
Yes.
Almost like a site plan, if you will.
Well, it's binding contract.
That's why I was very specific with how it was broken down in the report.
So again, my read is that as our board should see it, it's just pure numbers game in the rest of the spaces.
Got it.
That's where I'm.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Very good.
Thank you.
Chair.
Yes.
May I ask staff to opine on the 3 distinct businesses component of the commercial center?
Well, as long as they're commercial uses, they would be allowed. It's not defined. We could have an institutional use like a church, for example. You'd have any of the allowed uses in the commercial district. And what's being proposed now is 2 eating and drinking establishments, 1 retail establishment.
You may continue.
Thank you, Chair. Just in response to the opposition, the matters that he brings up are private matters of what they're reviewing at their level and really aren't relevant, as was kind of hinted at here. It's just a matter of, it has been approved as a commercial center, and with your chapter 3312.49 required parking, using that formula, it's literally a 5 parking spot variance because there are already 107 spaces available. And with this bump up of 1186 with them for the mezzanine, it ends up being a variance of 5 parking spots. So that is really what is at issue here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional questions?
I'll call the question.
Questions have been called, please call the roll.
Mr. Malika?
I'm gonna vote yes for this variance. The question is going through the seven factors would say that could they get a reasonable turnout of this? I think based on probably the current economics, they cannot. So I think you that's very helpful. I don't think the variance is substantial by place. It's not. It doesn't affect the essential character of the neighborhoods. It's most of the area, if it's retail with, comes with parking. um, It will not affect government services. Sure that the owners knew of the existing zoning restrictions when they purchased the property. Could it be alleviated? In some other method, other than the variance, no, I believe so. And I think this is in the spirit and intent of it would be observed by giving them experience. Yes.
Let's take a look.
I agree with my colleagues' analysis that don't impact factors on like, I was voting yes.
Chair Jones?
I too agree with the assessment of my colleagues and vote yes, the variance is granted. Good luck with the project. BZA 24-173 for 2365 Performance Way.
Final on the Performance Way, then just be to generate. Hello, Michael.
I know you are not sworn.
monitor.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you provide is true to the best of your knowledge and belief, if so, God do?
I do.
Thank you. Provide your name.
John Ingwerson.
Thank you very much. Sign it on the sheet.
2365 Performance Way is located on the south side of Performance Way, approximately 1,800 feet west of Allen Creek Drive. It is zoned LN, limited manufacturing, and part of the Far South Area Commission. Site is developed with an office facility and an industrial yard used by an excavation contractor, including open storage of heavy equipment. Surrounding uses are primarily industrial to the east, west, and south, with State Route 104 to the north. The applicant was cited for multiple code violations relating to failing to obtain zoning clearance to change the use of the property. Variances are being requested to update the site plan of record, reduce the required setback for open storage from 20 feet to 0 feet, and allowing parking on a gravel surface. Planning is generally supportive of this proposal, but requests additional screening along Performance Way frontage. C2P2 design guidelines state chain link fencing is not appropriate for screening, and that parking lots be screened from view from public right of way and adjacent development. Staff generally concur with the applicant's statement in support, but requests additional screening along Performance Way frontage, including fabric or slats to accompany the chain link fencing and or landscaping to supplement the fencing. Division of Traffic Management had no comments, and the Far South Area Commission recommends approval with a vote of 8-0. Staff to recommend approval as the variances allow for functional site operations within an established industrial corridor. The open storage setbacks and gravel parking surface are typical for similar industrial uses. And we're asking the condition that the applicant will provide additional screening on the Performance Way frontage, including fabric or slats to accompany the chain link fencing and or landscaping to supplement the fence.
Thank you very much. Do you understand the conditions and accept them?
No.
No. Okay. You have a recommendation of approval from city staff and the Far South Area Commission. Sounded like you want to add something about the condition.
Yes.
Okay.
This site is to the south side of 104. And it is, probably 35 feet above the roadway. The only,
35 feet above what?
the roadway of 35 feet above 104.
But
So-
not performance.
That is performance.
Performance, I'm saying your property line on performance.
Right.
Is 35 feet above,
104.
but performance is a highway or is a roadway.
Correct.
And that's where it's been requested.
Correct. The condition has been this way for 30 years due to code enforcement or whatever, and some address problems. It used to be called Refugee Road South, but its performance way was changed in the 70s at some time. The owner and the neighbor, which is Columbus Equipment Company, which sells track hose, pans, large bulldozers, equipment. They don't want any screening there so that, and it's a cul-de-sac. There's just industrial uses or sales uses along there. They would like the ability of the police to have drive-by surveillance. So they don't want to have any opacity, and they would like the storage to be closer to the fence where it's been for a long time.
It's a long performance.
Yes. You can only see directly onto that site from the other side of 104, which is the spur from Alum Creek that goes and gets you past the shredded facility. So there's really the screening, although C2P2 is important, it doesn't seem to make sense here. The owner would plant street trees at a 50-foot interval to spruce up that drive along Performance Way, but he's really not interested in screening and putting up any kind of netting or screening or landscaping to block the view of his equipment.
So going, I'm gonna say either east or west. Thank you. Who are these parcels on the east? Who's driving past this site?
The arrow right there where you have the cursor is Columbus Equipment Company, and that's heavy equipment sales. There's another construction company that's a little further to the west. And I forget the development at the far end, but it's a cul-de-sac and there's not a lot of traffic.
All manufacturing and the street end back there.
Yeah.
Okay, so just so I have some context, can you zoom out a little bit? Because this has been an area I've been concerned with. The shredded place that you refer to.
Yeah.
I can see it from 104. And we've had them in here, ready to talk about pile heights.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm telling you, when I've driven by something and I can see it, so arguably, my comment to you would be, if you're saying you can only see it if you're elevated across the highway.
Correct.
So I have to challenge it and ask you, are you certain? I mean, I'm not looking at the trajectory and the angles like you probably have, but I can certainly see up on the shredded side. Why couldn't I see up on your side?
Shredded's about a 60-foot high building, and it's got white, basically white metal siding. This is.
Let me be clear, they're piles that they had prior, not their building.
Oh, correct. But if you want to go to, Jamie, if you've got my photos on that stick, there's one that's called, there's a couple street views from the east and the west, a long performance that shows a very recent storage of the construction equipment since it's winter. These guys are excavators and they had a lot of their equipment in. There's one from the east and one from the west. And you can see 104 off to the left, and then that chain link fence and the bushes on it. Our site's on the right. That's coming from the east headed to the west. And that piece right there is the west termination of the Agudasacum Cemetery.
All right, thank you. Is there anything additional that you'd like to add? It sounds like you're not willing to accept the conditions, but I guess we'll have to ask my colleagues, are they okay?
I can clarify, the condition says you provide additional screening along performance way frontage, including fabric or slats that don't meet the chain link fencing and or landscaping supplemental fencing. I thought I heard that your client was okay with landscaping.
The agreement is street trees at 50 feet, he would be okay with. But that's not landscape screening to 70% opacity or whatever,
That's just adding greens.
but it is a commitment.
Yeah, for sure.
And planning would have to weigh in, I would think.
So if you guys are okay without having that as a condition we move forward, if you are not, then we need to have a conversation.
I was trying to see who, the other manufacturer one, they have screening. It seemed like they did.
Well, again, that, based on your use, you don't get caught, so you get caught.
Right.
They're not screened,
So where's the cemetery?
right to the right.
So people going to the cemetery will see this.
No,
They never go there.
they never get past the pine trees.
They missed the cemetery. That was one thing I could check.
There's a site right now.
Yeah, that's the entrance to the site. And the storage starts right there and goes further west.
And storage of what specifically?
Construction equipment, Yeah.
Equipment, not materials.
correct. Well, occasionally they, end up with surplus pipe that they're, that's come back from a job.
Yeah, I guess I'm trying to put it in my head, if it's just equipment like trucks and what have you, that's not a big deal, but if it's an open-ended thing as to what it could be, that could be challenging.
Well, John Cassav would have their own storage setback anyway. Equipment has a different storage setback.
Okay.
Okay.
Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak for or against this proposal as presented? Seeing and hearing none,
All question.
question's been called.
Ms. Sigelow?
And weighing the zoning factors, the variance request is setback of the storage from front of the property limits is 0, service. Whether property in question can yield a reasonable return. Without the variance, they can, where the variance is substantial. Neighborhood, whether essential character of the neighborhood will be substantially altered. Or whether adjoining properties would suffer substantial detriment as a result of this variance. I haven't heard evidence that it would. Whether the variance would adversely affect the delivery of governmental services, no. Whether the property owner purchased the property with the knowledge of the zoning restriction. Whether property owners predicament easily can be obligated, I'll get that one. Through some method other than the variance. Probably not. And whether the spirit and intent behind the zoning restriction would be preserved and substantial justice done by granting the variance. Well, so I'm finding all those questions and weighing them. I'm gonna vote in favor of the variance.
Mr. Malika?
I am going to concur, colleague, and vote yes.
Chair Jones?
I should agree that the assessment is thorough, and vote yes. Variances are granted.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations on becoming compliant.
Don't know how tough it is sometimes.
We're gonna bring back DVA 24-138 for 245 East Lakeview. Returning from recess.
Yeah. Yes.
I'd actually have public comments. Ms. Lorraine, I'll have to start.
Casey and I agreed that, having a document saying that you can get on my property or I can get, is not necessary. With the space that is involved, it will become a dead space.
It will be, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
It will be what?
It'll be a dead space for all intents and purposes. So therefore, we don't need that maintenance agreement thing. However, Casey has an adjustment to the plan.
Because to be clear, I may not ask for it to be a recorded document, but I probably want to see it done. Because to your point, you move, your neighbor moves there, or a new person moves there, and they tell him he can no longer go there. There's no supported document to allow him to do that. So let's see what your proposal is and see if we can all make it work.
We just talked about shifting the garage and the sunroom towards the 3 foot to 0 foot on the Calumet side, which would be the west property line,
To 2 feet
3 foot to 0 feet
on the west side,
on
yes.
the west side, which is the Calumet Road side. To shift it further away from that property line on the east side.
So we've kind of done this on the fly. I don't know that I can say yes, because I don't know the city staff, the traffic does not have an opportunity to weigh in on that. So I don't know, and I don't want to pitch on the spot now, but it sounds like we may still need to table this with a move. I like the solution. I like that you guys are working towards a solution, but we can't do that kind of an adjustment on the fly without having everything.
Understand.
According to the agenda, the notice that went out, it does list, well, you're saying 0. Okay, yeah, we can't go further than that. This is 1, so you'd have to come back.
With the new variance, correct?
No, not fair. Adjust this, we would just.
Oh, just adjust that one? Yeah, okay,
And we would have.
I understand.
We would have to do notice and do review, yeah.
Yeah.
So what we're doing is tabling this, it sounds like. So is there anyone in the audience that would be opposed to a tabling for this matter? Seeing and hearing none, is there a motion to table?
Removed.
It's been moved and seconded, please call the roll.
Mr. Malika?
Yes.
Ms. Eichelhoff?
Yes.
Chair Jones?
Yes, your case is tabled, you're no longer in recess, but you're tabled. You resubmit, talk to city staff, they will put it back in review, so the traffic can review and weigh in on it.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll have a solution, and you don't have to come back, and everybody will be happy. But in this case, it's tabled.
Sounds good.
Question, to your point about the maintenance. If we agree that it can be done, how does that affect the next homeowner of either property?
Because what we do is put it into, it's somewhat like a law, if I was the property. So when you move one day, 10 or 100 years from now, somebody else will be there, and they will inherit the condition that exists. They may not want that condition. And if there's, you know what I mean, they may say he cannot come on my land and paint his garage. So then his garage deteriorates and collapses. I'm being extreme there.
Right.
The point is, you won't be there forever.
Right.
The things that we put in place are forever.
So the homeowner who would come after either one of us would be held to that condition.
The conditions that we put in place.
That we say, so the condition can simply be, if you need to get onto my property, you need to ask me, or does it need to be a global?
Generally, we refer to them as cross-maintenance access agreements. I'm sure somebody with legal expertise can help guide that for you, or maybe even Google, ChatGPT, some alternative that might have something simple for you to put together, but it would be something that you both have in your records that says this is what is allowed.
Okay,
Okay,
figure it out.
thank you very much.
Yeah,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you.
And now we are at BZA 24176 for 854 Hard Road.
Jonathan Weiss, Weiss, and I have been sworn in.
Thank you very much.
BZA 24-176 for 854 Hard Road. It's located on the north side of Hard Road, approximately 150 feet or 150 feet west of Ravens Nest Court. It's located in the far northwest coalition in zone R1 residential. The 0.66 acre site is developed with a single unit dwelling with an attached 399 square foot garage. Surrounding uses are all single unit dwellings. The applicant proposes to construct a 22 by 28 detached garage and is requesting variances to increase the maximum allowable garage area from 829 square feet to 1,015 square feet, and to increase the allowable height of a detached garage from 15 feet to 17 feet. Planning supports this proposal. The Northwest Plan guidelines state the scale and proportion of additions should be compatible with the principal and nearby structures. The proposal is consistent with these guidelines, and staff concur with the applicant's statement in support and are therefore supportive. The Division of Traffic Management has no comments. The Far Northwest Coalition of Columbus recommends approval of the request with a vote of 3-1. Staff can recommend approval of the requested variances because they will allow the applicant to store a vehicle out of sight that's currently unable to fit in the existing garage. The proposed garage is appropriately sized and sited in an appropriate location.
Thank you very much. So you have the recommendation of approval from city staff as well as the Far Northwest Coalition of Columbus. Is there anything additional that you'd like to add?
No, sir.
Okay, is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak for or against this proposal? Okay, seeing and hearing none, I'll turn to my colleagues.
Time to call the question.
Questions have been called, please call the roll.
Mr. Malacca?
I'm gonna vote yes, based on these factors. Could you get a reasonable return on the property without the variance? Yes, you could, but could not build this particular garage. Is the variance substantial? I don't feel it is. It does not affect the essential character of the neighborhood. It will not affect government services. I'm not sure if the owner knew of some of these zoning restrictions when he bought the property. Could it be obviated through some other method other than a variance? I'd say no. But I do believe this is the spirit of the zoning code and it's being observed by giving him this variance.
Ms. Egelbaum?
I included my colleagues' analysis, the Duncan factors, and my ways to vote yes and maybe the variances.
Mr. Jones?
I also agree, great assessment of the Duncan factors by my colleague, and then I vote yes. Good luck with the project.
You guys want to talk a little bit longer? We can. That was too easy. I mean, thank you so much. I gotta sign it.
BZA 25-004 for 8295 Sangus Boulevard. Hello.
Hello, hi.
Would you please provide your name and indicate whether or not you've been sworn in?
Yes, my name is Jake Sutton with Gateway Engineers, and I have not been sworn in.
My name's Aaron Brumba, and I've also been not sworn in.
You guys work for Gateway, you said?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you'll provide is the truth to the best of your knowledge and belief? If so, say I do.
I do.
Thank you. Signing on the sheet, and we'll hear from city staff.
All right, 8295 Sangus Boulevard is located on the west side of Sangus Boulevard, approximately 200 feet south of Lozelle Road. Site is zoned LC4 limited commercial and is within the jurisdiction of the Far North Columbus Community School. Site is developed with a 4,088 square foot retail space with an accessory 31 space parking lot, which includes 4 ADA spaces and 27 non-ADA spaces. Certain uses include a fuel station, commercial strip center to the north, an apartment residential development south and west, and a commercial strip center to the east. The applicant proposes, just as a little bit of background, in August of 2024, this site was granted variance to increase the number of maximum parking spaces from 21 to 31. They're back again to request converting 2 of the 4 ADA spaces to non-ADA, thereby increasing the total number of on-site parking spaces to 33. And as you know, the maximum allowed parking for this retail use is 1 per 200. Division of Traffic Management has no comments, and planning division is supportive. They do request a landscape plan to review for consistency with the far north area plan. The landscape plan which was submitted last time was sufficient enough to go back for the board again this time. But just to clean things up, I'll have you stamp it again. The new number. Far North Columbus Communities Coalition recommends approval. And city staff is recommending approval with the following condition that, again, the applicant will commit to the same landscape plan. Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. You understand the conditions
Yes.
and you accept?
Yes.
You have the recommendation of approval from city staff as well as the Far North Columbus Communities Coalition. Is there anything additional that you'd like to add?
No, we're just available here for any questions that you may have.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak for or against this proposal? Okay, seeing and hearing none, I will say, in reviewing the Duncan factors, that this property certainly would yield a reasonable rate of return. But there is, excuse me, it would certainly yield a favorable rate without the variance. The variance is not substantial. The variance, excuse me, the essential character of the neighborhood won't be altered in any way by this variance being approved. Property owner purchased the property knowing the zoning. Even if they didn't, they became aware at their last variance request. The property owner's predicament can feasibly be obviated through some other method. It doesn't sound like it could be, so you had that burden. The spirit and the intent of the zoning requirement, I think, is still being observed, and substantial justice being done by approving this variance. And with that, if my colleague would call the question.
I will call the question.
President's going to please call the roll.
Ms. Egelhoff?
I agree with my colleagues' analysis of the Duncan factors and vote yes and grant to the variance.
Commissioner Malaka?
I concur with my colleague as well, vote yes.
Chair Jones?
I agree with myself. Variance is granted.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Deviation 4-156, 5440 Fisher Road. Hello, please provide your name and date whether or not you've been sworn.
My name is Anthony Marmon. I've been sworn.
Okay.
All right. 440. Fisher Road is located in the northwest corner of Fisher Road and Hilliard Road. Site is on LC4 Limited Commercial and it's within the far west side area commission. The 1.88 acre site is currently undeveloped. Current uses include a hotel to the north, multi-unit residential to the east, and eating and drinking establishment to the west, and a fuel station and convenience store to the south. The applicant proposes a marijuana dispensary, which no longer needs a special permit, and request a variance to increase the maximum number of parking spaces from 25 to 61. Planning is supportive of the proposal. The Craig Roberts area plan recommended enhanced screening and landscaping, pedestrian connectivity, and parking should be hidden to the greatest extent possible by locating to the rear of the side of the building. Staff note the proposed site plan is consistent with plan design guidelines for parking hidden, landscape screening along frontages, and a pedestrian connected to the Fisher Road sidewalk. The Division of Traffic Management has no comments, and the far west side area commission recommends approval. City staff will recommend approval with the following condition that the applicant will commit to the stamped landscape plan. Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. What is your role?
I'm one of the owners of the property, part of the development group. Bojack.
Bojack LLC?
Yeah.
You are a member of the LLC?
Yes.
Okay. Do you understand the condition that's being requested?
Yeah. we're requesting variance to 61 parking spaces from 25.
The condition was to have a site plan stamped.
So I can't get a site plan stamped until you guys approve a variance, is what we were told.
That's what this is. You have to agree that you'll agree to the landscape plan.
Oh, yeah, so that's going in as a part of our plan, if that's what you're asking. Okay, yeah, cool. I've never done this before, guys, so.
It is easy as possible. Have a recommendation of approval from city staff, as well as the far west side area commission. Is there anything additional that you'd like to add?
Nope.
Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak for or against this proposal as presented? Seeing and hearing none.
Call the question.
Questions been called, please call the roll.
Mr. Malika?
I'm gonna vote yes based on factors stated now. Gonna get a reasonable return on the property without these variances. I think the additional parking is needed for this type of establishment. We don't feel the variance is substantial. It does not affect the essential character of the neighborhood. It will not affect government services. I'm sure that the owner knew of the zone prior when he bought it. Could it be obviated through some other methods and not additional parking? It's the only way. We do feel it meets the spirit and intent of the zoning. So yes.
Ms. Egelhoff?
Yeah, I agree with my colleagues' analysis and the Duncan factors in my way, so yes.
Chair Jones?
I too agree with the eloquent explanation and vote yes. Good luck.
Thank you.
Four 149 for 1466 South Hamilton Road.
And just so that this is a style.
Well, that's not usually, oh, yes, those are your.
Yes, that's, I told you I'd be back with food trucks.
Okay, for the record, please indicate your name and whether or not you've been sworn.
Jean Cabral, and have not been sworn in.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you'll provide is the truth to the best of your knowledge and belief? So say I do.
I do.
Okay. 1466 Southampton Road is located at the northeast corner of Southampton Road and Livingston Avenue. Site is on CHD, Community Activity Center District, districts that allows for. Site is also within the Medes Area Commission. The 170 acre site is built with a fuel station and an 828 square foot accessory convenience store. Surrounding uses include a commercial strip center to the north and west, a learning center to the east, and a fuel station and convenience store to the south. The applicant proposes to allow portable building uses of food truck to remain on site overnight, which requires a special permit. Planning has no comment on the proposal as neither the Livingston East Area Plan nor the former citywide planning policy to address the specific matter. The Division of Traffic Management states that a right-of-way dedication of 60 feet from the center line of Southampton Road and 60 feet from the center line of Livingston Avenue will be required for per CC 4309.17. The Medes Area Commission recommends approval. City staff is comfortable recommending approval as the food trucks that wish to remain on site on a more permanent basis are being reviewed by both the neighborhood group and the DDA, which can impose conditions on a case-by-case basis. Further, food trucks undergo annual inspection by both the fire and health department license. We have no conditions.
Thank you. So I'm getting deja vu, not just with you, but were they, is this the case we've heard?
No,
Weren't they with you before?
the applicant, one guy is. But the other fellow, the owner of the food truck, his wife passed away unexpectedly 2 days ago. I mean, just very, she's only in her 40s. So he's not here. The applicant, I'm the agent, so.
I just knew that it was together before.
Well, we all kind of know each other, so if there's any, he's gonna do parking striping, and if there are any conditions, it's like dumpster or anything that need to be changed, she's gonna be doing that work, the gentleman that's here right now. But the owner is not the owner of the food, then there's the owner of the property, he's not, he's not the applicant though.
Well, you have the recommendation of approval from city staff.
Right.
As
The
well.
only thing that we talked about at the area commission is that where that truck is placed, we're gonna move it over about 20 feet to the right, so it's farther from Hamilton Road. And that's gonna be on the final site compliance plan. And it's already on the one I had submitted. It's already shown as farther back, but right now it's still parked. And I told him not to move it until I get out there with him. So we make sure it's in exactly the right spot.
Thank you for that. So is that what you wanted to add?
Yes.
Is there anything additional? Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak for or against this proposal as presented? Seeing and hearing none,
Well, the question.
the question's been called.
Ms. Egelhoff?
And looking under 3307.06 and special permits, special permit is appropriate where we show the special use to be granted without substantial detriment to the public good, which is the case here, without substantial impairment for the general purpose and intent of the zoning district in which the use is proposed to be located, and without significant impact on the general character of the neighborhood. I find all those support the granting of the special permit. I vote yes.
Mr. Malcolm?
I concur with my colleague and vote yes.
Chair Jones?
I agree. It sounds as though there's been a lot of comments on it and we would be appropriate. And I can vote in favor of the special permit.
Thank you very much. By the way, I go past this like 4 times a week because my family home is just a few blocks from there. I'm always over there, visiting family. I have a truthfully, you've already said yes. I never see I never see like cars hanging in the street waiting to get in there. It's a big lot. I mean, there's lots of places to park to go get your food, so.
I get around and I have my measuring tape.
Well, I will, because it's just funny. I've done so many businesses right there that I kind of know like what's jamming stuff up. And I'm down that street like literally like 4 times a week. This past week, it was every day because somebody's got just some help. One of my family members needed help on something. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Hey, Dan.
BZA report at 161 for 1247 and 1259 Hildreth Avenue.
Harry Zellers, and no, I have not been sworn in.
Okay. You swear or affirm that the testimony that you'll provide is true to the best of your knowledge and belief, so say I do.
I did.
Okay, thank you. Just sign them on the sheet.
Right. 1247 to 1259 Hildreth Avenue, located on the south side of Hildreth Avenue, approximately 175 feet west of North Champion Avenue. It is part of the Near East Area Commission and existing zoning is R3 residential district. The 0.28 acre site is currently undeveloped. Surrounding uses include single unit dwellings to the north, east, and west, and a church and eating and drinking establishment to the south. The applicant proposes to construct 4 single unit dwellings, with 1 located on each of the 4 lots that constitute the property in this application. The applicant is requesting variances to reduce the minimum lot width from 50 feet to 24 feet, reduce the minimum lot size from 5,000 square feet to 2,880 square feet, reduce the size of a parking space from 9 feet by 18 feet to 8.5 feet by 18 feet, and reduce the number of lot trees for a single unit dwelling from 1 to 0. Planning is in full support of the requested variances. Staff note that the proposed elevations are consistent with the Near East Area Plan design guidelines. Division of Traffic Management is supportive of the requested variance to reduce the minimum required parking space width in consideration of the limited proposed lot width for these properties and in consideration that reduced spacing between the proposed garages would trigger the need to meet additional fire rate requirements. The Near East Area Commission has recommended approval of the requested variances, voting 15-0 with 1 abstention. City Department's recommendation is likewise to have approval. Staff recommends approval as the variances would allow a development pattern that is consistent with the surrounding area and C2B2 design guidelines. Furthermore, the increased housing density resulting from the splitting and recombination of the original 3 lots into 4 lots is in line with the city's objective of increasing housing availability. Chair.
Thank you very much. You have the recommendation of the Near East Area Commission, as well as city staff. Is there anything additional that you'd like to add?
No, sir.
Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak for or against this proposal as presented? Seeing and hearing none, I'll call the question, but I'll give.
I have one question.
I'm sorry.
Prior. Why no trees?
I was waiting for that question.
That's the only thing I'm like.
The city put a brand new water line in the front of the house, across the street. So I have to cross the street, so the water line would be in the front yard. And the back line is my sewer tap. So that's why no trees. Because we did do them on Oak Street. We put the trees in, it looks beautiful. But we couldn't guarantee the water and sewer wouldn't be damaged later.
So,
Question.
okay, well, I'm going to give my analysis of the Duncan factors. Whether the property in question will yield a reasonable return or whether there can be beneficial use of the property without the variance, yes. But I think the good far outweighs the bad in improving and increasing density in the area. Whether the variance is substantial, it is substantial, but again, overall benefits for improving the community outweigh the negative, if there is any negative impact there. Whether the essential character of the neighborhood would substantially be altered, the answer is no. Whether the property owner purchased the property with knowledge of the zoning restriction, understanding that it's a COSIC property and your company is acquiring it from COSIC. I know you are aware of the zoning restrictions. Whether the property owner's predicament feasibly can be obviated through some other method or variance, not with the goal of increasing density. Whether the spirit and intent behind the zoning requirement would be observed and substantial justice done by the variance, I say yes.
Mr. Malacco?
I concur with my colleague here. I think this is a great solution. Keep it up.
Thank you.
Ms. Eichelhoff?
I concur with my colleague in the chair's analysis of the Duncan factors and my way to vote yes to the variances.
I should vote yes. Good luck with the project.
Thank you. The only thing is, we don't own it. COSIC will retain it. We're just building for them. We did the designs and the building. They get to retain it all. And they love it. Jamie loves it.
All right, go ahead. No question. Maybe he's right. All right, go on.
We're done.